We now live in a time where you can become a founder of a startup, meet your co founder, build a company together, raise capital, build a micro economy, hire people, scale your brand, scale your company, raise a Series A and B, go IPO, perhaps exit. In today's world, without ever meeting your co founder. You can create a product. You can create a platform. You can create several platforms. You could teach 10,000 people in 1 hour. You could teach 100,000 people. In 1 hour, you can teach 1,000,000. Whole entire workforces, the size of cities, small cities, but the size of cities and towns, have not occupied the walls and the halls of technology hubs like Silicon Valley, Silicon Hills, Prairie, Silicon Alley, Forest, Beach, so forth and so on. They've not occupied these buildings, and some of them are never going back. Welcome to the hybrid economy. The hybrid economy has arrived. It's been one giant, massive case study, and everyone had to participate. The remote workforce is real. The way that you see us operating a business today, not just in technology, this isn't just a tech-specific thing. Horizontally, in companies and businesses, corporations, startups, we have found new third workplaces. We have found our living rooms, dining rooms, and we've never been more connected than we are today. Communication tools. How many webcams have been in demand this past year? How many webcams are in demand today? Microphones. Home chairs. Let's switch this up some. How many desks have not been occupied in Google in the last year and a half? How much money has Apple saved in coffee every day this past year and a half? Does somebody have something on that? Anyone? Bueller? How many amenities have been spared from the amenity people on these vast, massive campuses of technology? I can only imagine. The hybrid economy. There's such a rift happening in the workplace between generation to generation. Not all, but many. If you're coming from a boomer generation, we're back in the office the second day that the pandemic started. We're back in the office. If you're from a millennial generation or Gen Xer, little split in between, or like me, a Zennial, yes, that's a real thing. If you're a Zennial or a millennial, And not all, but many. But if you're a millennial, I'm never going back to the office. Fine, fine. I'll go a day a week. I'll go a day a week. But that's it. Product delivery teams, remote. Software development, remote. You need me to hack what? To code what? To cybersecurity what? Remote. Do you know that I can earn six figures just by sitting on a beach in Bali with my laptop and hot, decent Wi-Fi? We're never going back. A couple months in, yeah, everybody back to work. What's that old horn they have? You ever see that film Joe versus Volcano, where everyone's kind of it's definitely an 80s thing, where everyone's standing in line? Who's in that? Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks. Everyone's standing. Movie starts off. Go see it. Pick it up if you get a chance. If you haven't seen it, you'll like it. If you don't like it, tell me about it. Everyone's standing in line in this doldrum of a line, and there's music playing, and they got to go down, and they're going to work, and some people like work in these basements with no windows, and it's just like the most gnarly blue light for lighting in the office. White paint walls on brick or whatever kind of material that is. That's how some people think when they have to go back to work. I know management thinks, oh, it's such a luxury and a privilege to go back to work. And do you know some people have been met with a high level of success when it comes to what they've been working on for years? Sheryl Sandberg said Facebook hired over 17,000 people in 2020, or since the pandemic began, and over 17,000 people have never set foot in Menlo Park at their campus. That happened. Can you imagine how many now? So some people have found themselves to be exponentially and much more productive working from home. Some people are like, hey, you want me to give back to the commute lords 14 to 15 hours a week? You're taking that back from me, and I just got it. I just got it. You mean I get to go home and I don't have to go teach my son his studies at 9 p.m. at night because I've been in the gnarly commute? And don't get me started with the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. Why does somebody have such a long commute, Chris? Do you know the cost of living in California? I don't know how it. Somebody tell me, what does it cost to live where you live? Where are you at? The cost of living is gnarly. It's gnarly. So the guy's saying, hey, you want me to give 15 to 16 hours a week back? And you know what they're saying? Yeah, we do. And you know what he's saying? I'm never going back. The Great Quit movement. It's not just because of COVID. Let's not think that way. Let's not think, oh, everybody's so scared to go back to... People with their vaccines, they're not scared to go back to work. But we're thinking about the practicality of it, of going back to work. How much carbon footprint reduction has happened? Do you remember where they were saying, even in Venice, dolphins were coming out? I've been to Venice, Italy. The most beautiful city I've ever seen and I've ever visited. I've visited many cities, and so have you. And all of you probably more than me. But you know it's real when the dolphins feel like I can come back. There's speedboats and boats all over Venice, city on water. When everybody goes home and gets out of the way of animal life, animals are like, yes, we haven't been here in a while. Love what you've done with the place. So, what are we really saying? Was it in India where they said, in today's news in India, you can see the Himalayan mountains, a thing we have not ever been able to see because of the thickness of smog. But now that everyone's back at their homes, so you mean to tell me that some companies, many companies, have thrived during the great remote experience? They've met success. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the work-life balance that many people needed. Maybe it wasn't just about, hey, here's some extra stock options and here's a few hours extra a week for vacation time. Oh, and if you're with child, you can have those 2 months. Maybe it was more than that. Maybe it's taken a pandemic for us to realize, and look, I could be wrong about this, but maybe it's taken a pandemic for us to realize just how worked we were, working the roads, working the land, working the air, drive, 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 drive. Maybe we realized by way of this pandemic just how much work we've been putting in. I mean, think about that. I mean, really, how many more people have you met by way of remote work this past year that you normally probably would not be connecting with? How many more events have been distributed? How much more information has been exchanged in this remote world? And look, for the extended reality community of technology, you know, those fine fellow people that work on virtual and augmented reality, isn't it interesting how the whole entire world has defined in the course of a year what their understanding of the term virtual means? That's a different episode. That's a difference. That's definitely, definitely a different episode. Think about that. We've become more virtual in the past year and a half than we have the past 10. Now, some companies have officially closed down their physical operations. Do you know there were already some platforms that were already 100% virtual and we looked at them like, yeah, that's a little awkward, dog. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if you can really reach optimal success in operating like that. And they have been successful year in, year out. What did they know that we didn't? Oh, they're just being cheap. They didn't want to take and put down a lease on commercial real estate. Is that really it? Are we really going to minimalize it to that? Maybe, just maybe, they knew something more than what we did. Now, granted, I worked remote for years myself, but never in the capacity as we know it today. So, what are we saying? What are we looking at here? What we're looking at here is opportunity. What we're looking at here is connectivity unlike anything we've ever known in business. What we're looking at is greater opportunity for accessibility. to know that a family could stay in a place affordable within their means, still have an opportunity to work for Apple? You mean I don't have to come pack Sunnyvale, Cupertino, San Jose, Mountain View, Palo Alto? So I don't have to come pack those cities to do my commute? You mean you're willing to hire me right from where I'm at here in Iowa? Come on. Let's branch out. But of course, even within these look, and there's fights that are happening. There's friction. Even in management, they're saying, no, we can do this apart. And so many others are saying, no, we need to do this together. But why can't there be both? The more energy you use to fight the hybrid economy, there is opposition that's being built with that same energy. The hacker in me says, embrace the change. In fact, don't just embrace it, celebrate it. Celebrate the mere fact that we had tools already on the scene. Zoom didn't just launch March 1st, 2020. It did not. Google Hangouts was already on the scene. Blue Jeans is already on the scene. Video apps were already on the scene. There's been technology that's been pulled off the shelf that's been ready for these types of scenarios. The advancements of technology. The single greatest thing that's been developed in technology in the last 30 years, the number one, I get people asking, hey, what do you think about technology and like the greatest thing that's not the greatest thing of all time? We're not going to touch on that yet. And we just might, but not tonight, not today, not this week. But the single greatest development of technology in the past 30 years, undoubtedly, is communication. The ability for you to talk to me to talk to you, for me to listen to you, so on and so forth. The exchange of information from my database in my brain to your database in your brain. We have found a way. There are case studies that are being developed and written about and data that's being tracked on this updated, right? Updated way of doing business. It's kind of similar to journalism. Everyone with a phone is a potential journalist. I've seen incredible footage. I've seen more emergency news demonstrated from the palm of someone's hand phone than on CNN. No disrespect to CNN. There's some decent people there. Some. What's my point? Accessibility, democratization, available tools and utility. For at times like these, for me to even be able to sit and express and communicate with you here on this podcast that goes out to thousands of people on Spotify, Apple, soon YouTube, Google Podcasts, and elsewhere. For me to reach to you and ways for you to reach to me. distribution of information, and hopefully good information at that. The hybrid economy is here. Okay, I'm out.